Hello, my friends. It's your friendly neighborhood modern mystic, energy healer, divine light channel, and all-around sass mistress, Katie Rubin, of the infamous KatieRubin.com. Today in my healing class, a topic came up that I cannot help myself but talk about here in this video. The topic is what I'm going to call Pfagles. That's right, Pfagles. P-F-A-G-E-L-S. It's an acronym that doesn't spell a word, which makes it a bad acronym. You're welcome. Pfagles stands for pride, fear, anger, greed, envy, lust, and sloth. Now, those of you of a 12-step persuasion will be familiar with Pfagles, and those of you of a religious persuasion will be familiar with Pfagles. The rest of us have no relationship, oftentimes, to Pfagles. Why? Because religion, I think, did us a big fucking misservice. People took a hold of the teachings of the prophets and the mystics who came to help us learn how to use the machine of our bodies well. Human people, took a hold of those teachings that were about like unity and oneness and then used them to dominate and control and have power over one another, which is fucked up and stupid. Because when you come at a group of people and say, these are your 7 deadly sins, and they're wrong, and you're sinful for having your lustful feelings of sinful lustfulness, then all you do is put people in their defenses. Then people go, fuck off, motherfucker. And then you, as a liberal, creative, free thinker, right, you have a reaction to that. And you go, fuck you. Don't tell me what to do. And then you go, I'm going to fuck everybody I want. I'm going to have as much lust as I feel like it, right? I'm going to be slothful when I feel like it. Fuck you, religion. And I get it. I happen to be someone for whom my Pfagles were really fucking my life up. And so I've really had to learn to work with them. That one didn't work as well. So here's the deal with Pfagles. I like to frame pride, fear, anger, greed, lust, envy, sloth, not as fucking deadly wrong sins that make you bad, but they are energies that create walls in your heart between you and your freedom. Walls in your heart between you and your energetic openness. Walls in your heart that make it hard for you to experience joy and fulfillment and satisfaction in your life. Pride, anger, greed, fear, lust, envy, sloth. I said envy twice. They have frequencies. So think of it this way. If you think of the energy of envy, when you're like, fuck her, and why does she get to have the, and I want to have the, I'm so envious and that I'm going to be mad at that other lady. Feel the energy of envy in your body. Then feel the energy of, what's the opposite of envy? Like feeling proud for someone or feeling happy for someone. Now, I'm not asking you to fake it. I'm asking you to just be aware of the difference. Be aware of the difference for just a moment between anger and forgiveness. Be aware of the difference for just a moment between pride and humility. Which one actually feels better in your body? See, I was blessed with the curse and the blessing that my greed and anger and envy and all that stuff was really painful for me. And because it was painful, I was willing to learn some spiritual principles that have nothing to do with dogma and have nothing to do with religion and have nothing to do with right and wrong. They have to do with energetic freedom and liberation. So when I learned that my anger and my pride and my greed and my envy and my sloth and my lust actually create a shitty life for me, and I feel heavy and burdened when I'm living from the energies of Pfagles, I'm a self-centered motherfucker. So I was like, I'm good with getting out of this. So what is the key to getting out of this? Now, you could just say to yourself with your coachy brain, because you've all had coaching and you've been to therapy and you get it, I'm not going to be prideful anymore. I'm not going to be envious anymore. I'm not going to be judgmental. I'm not going to be reactive. I'm just going to do the right stuff. Well, I don't know about you, but that doesn't always work. Sometimes you could coach and talk yourself into a new frame of mind and get yourself out of anger and get yourself into humility and get yourself out of lust and get yourself into love, okay? Sometimes not. What do you do when you can't shift the energy of it? That is literally the moment that spirituality is designed for. When we have a spiritual connection with that, all that means is we have direct personal access to a frequency of energy that can change the frequency of Pfagles. Pfagles has like a tight, contracted frequency that then makes it hard for you to create or receive all the things you're trying to create and receive. Money tries to come, but it's bounced off by your Pfagles. fulfillment, love, connection, community with friends tries to enter your heart, it can't, because all the goddamn Pfagles. So you can coach yourself out of it. If that works for you, do that. But if you find yourself still limited and still stuck where the energy of pride, fear, anger, greed, envy, lust, and sloth, and anything else, by the way, is blocking your ability to feel open and lighthearted and free, that's when you want to develop a spiritual connection. Because, again, spirituality just means you, the flawed, normal, sassy, irreverent, fuck-saying you, has a connection, a tap into, an ability to intimately connect with a field of energy that can literally dissolve your Pfagles into light, that can dissolve your Pfagles into humility and grace and love and communion and open-heartedness, which makes you feel lighter. This is not about you doing right or wrong. In fact, that's so the worst way to approach liberation. It's so dumb that I'm like, not only is it annoying because it fucked humanity up, but it's so dumb. I can't believe how dumb people are. Except I guess I can, because a lot of people in power, I don't know if you've noticed, people in power aren't actually interested in liberating you. People in power are interested in enslaving you into their religion, whatever that religion might be, even if it's the religion of consumerism, or the religion of white supremacy, or the religion of whatever the fuck it might be. But if you're enslaved into consumerism, and you'll just buy more stuff, and if you're enslaved into the white patriarchal capitalist fucking, what's the word I want? If you're enslaved into the system of white supremacy, for example, you get to be nice and slothful and lazy and not really take part in becoming an ally or an activist on the race conversation. So that's how our Pfagles start to operate, is when we're enslaved into a religion or a system that the system itself benefits from you being enslaved into it. Then you have no motivation to look at your Pfagles, and you certainly have no way out of them. When you have a spiritual connection, the divine light can actually dissipate your fear and your sloth and your avoidance. Like, I've lived with a lot of sloth and avoidance around the white industrialist patriarchy, and as well in terms of the systemic racism that we live with in our country. I've lived with a lot of avoidance and sloth around it, but the divine has activated my heart in recent years through pain and through the awakening that we're going through culturally, to my own avoidance of it, my own sloth around it. And so I find myself having a lot more energy to like face the realities of the ways I have been indoctrinated into said system of white capitalist patriarchal white supremacy, and face all that, and let the facing of it and my spiritual practice of connecting with the divine light every day start to dissolve my apathy, start to dissolve my resistance, start to dissolve my pride, my sloth, my greed around all that. How do I do that? I bring the divine light into the parts of me that don't want to deal with these heavy problems, and I let that light dissolve those resistances. And in so doing, I become willing to engage with reality. And in addition, I become willing to be who I really am, which is a leader. I'm here to lead people. I know a lot about my human design and my astrology, and I'm supposed to lead the people. I don't always want to, because I got a lot of Pfagles, okay? But then when I get into the Akashic Records in the morning, it all gets dissolved and washed away, and I feel bright and shiny and willing to be who I am. That is the whole point of dealing with our pride, fear, anger, greed, lust, envy, sloth. It's not because we're wrong if we don't. It's because we're lightened, happier, and living into our soul's purpose when we do. So I'll wrap this up by saying, this very long video, by saying, if you don't know how to work with your pride, anger, greed, lust, envy, sloth, that's understandable. Nobody fucking taught you. Here's a little tiny hack. Get clear on when you're acting from any of those energies. And when you're acting from it, find those energies within you, and using your spiritual connection, whether that's meditation, a chant, a prayer, praying 5 times a day, It's getting into water where you float and there's salt in it so your spine relaxes. What are those called? The salt floats. Whatever your damn spirit, singing, dancing, acting, sex with someone you trust who's loving and wonderful, any heart expanding practices you have, and ask the universe to meet you in that place where the energetic wall of your Pfagles is living. And the universe will do that. It will dissolve that wall. And when you need help developing a spiritual practice, that's when you call me, KatieRubin.com. You set up your session and we will ask in the Akashic Records, what is your highest and best spiritual practice now? Because, by the way, it's more than likely going to change. It's changed 50 times in my life, and it changes for all my clients all the time. And when you can't find a way to get the divine light into the walls on your heart known as Pfagles, that's also when you call me and do an energy healing session, and we'll clear it together. May this be a useful conversation, and may this help us all get liberated from the white supremacist patriarchal structures built into the religions we've all been trained under that really were designed to enslave everybody. And let us instead be willing to look at something that is not a deadly sin. It's just an energy that blocks us from our own sunlight of the spirit. It's an energy that blocks us from our own fulfillment and liberation. That's the point of spirituality, so you feel good and lighter, not so you're a good girl who's no longer bad. That polarity is a lie. Okay, I'm going to stop talking because now I'm just repeating myself. I love you. This has been your Truth Bomb Wisdom teaching for the week. May it be useful.